In this video, what we're going to do is we're going to pick up where we left off. We started off doing some scenarios and we started our data model. Then what we did was we went ahead and we started to do some instance modeling and tried to enhance the data model. We talked about validating the model. At this point, what you'd probably do is if you actually had a data source, you would actually start writing like Cypher merge statements or load CSV statements to write Cypher that would conform to your model. In this case, we're going to be starting with the movies model, which has already loaded the data in. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick up and we're actually going to import the model from this database. So in a different video, I showed you how to create a database card and how to create the sample database. So I'm going to go back to the model section, and what we're going to do is we're going to actually import that. So there's this option import. There's two different menu items here. I'm going to do import model from database. This pops up a dialog. This drop down here is going to list any database cards that you've already defined. In this case, there's only one, and it's selected the information here. Everything's populated. When I click import, it goes out to the database and pulls in this information. So this is what is actually loaded in the database. We've got our person node. We've got a movie or movie nodes. These are the properties. These are all the relationships defined between them. Some of the relationships have actual properties on them as well. I'm going to just turn off the property display for a second. There is one bug here. For some reason, these self-referencing relationships get added twice. I'm going to delete this one if I can. And if I can't, then I'm going to just do my magic trick of reloading the database. Reloading the screen. And there we go. We're back in action. So given this, what we're going to do is we're going to go to this visual Cypher or the Cypher builder tool, and we're going to just write a very small query. So one thing to note is when you do the import database, this database connection icon will be turned on. I'll have a check mark. It's sometimes helpful to have that on as well. So I reloaded the screen, so it's turned off. I'm going to reconnect here and do this. And so now I'm connected. So in case there's anything I need to do like accessing data in the database, it'll be ready for me. So I'm going to create a new Cypher builder. I want to talk about, let's talk about like producers, for instance, like producer Cypher. That was one of my questions. In fact, what I'll do is I can actually load up in a different tab here. I can bring up another instance of the tool, and we can actually look at the questions. And so yeah, who has produced the most movies? Let me flip back here. So I want to make a Cypher statement. The first thing I'm going to do is, in order to help me out, I'm going to select my data model. So this is what I just imported. I'm going to pick this, and now I'm going to pop out this data model pane here, and you see that I've got some ghosted, like the node label, the relationship types, etc. They're ghosted. And in order to create the Cypher statement, I'm going to need a match block. So if you're writing your own Cypher, you would just type match something. So in this case, this is my match block, and I can just click on one of these relationships, like produced, for instance. And when I do that, it actually adds the source node, the relationship, and the destination node, and it added some variables here. And this is the Cypher statement that's produced, or part of it. So my actual question, I believe, was who has produced the most movies? So this is going to give me people that have produced movies. What I want to do now is I'm going to collapse this, and I want to add a return statement. And when I do that, let me collapse that for a second. When I do that, I see there's person one and movie one. I think if I were to switch this to producer, for instance, yeah, and so that switched there. Now I want to actually pull back the producer name, and in addition to that, I actually want to do a count. So this is something that's not, if you don't know the syntax, there's nothing really here to help you know this. But what I want to do is I want to count movie one as num movies. And I'm going to add that. So these are going to be my two things. In fact, this one I can actually change, or I can add like an alias here as well as producer, like this. So I've got a fairly simple Cypher statement. I've got person who produced movies, and we're going to return the producer name. We're going to get the count as the number of movies, and that's my actual Cypher statement. Now what I can do here is I can actually take this Cypher, and I can take it and I can run it over here. Actually, before I do that, I forgot one thing. I do want to add an order by, because what I want to do is I want to order or sort descending rather. So the number of movies, I want to make sure that I want the one that's produced the most movies in our data set. So this way it'll sort biggest number to smallest. And given that, let me now take this and I'll run it over here. And you see I have Joel Silver. So you can also do this. You can, if you're connected to the database, there is the ability to look at or try to run the query right here in Cypher Workbench. So you can just do this and you get the same results. It's not nearly as rich as Neo4j browser, but it is something. There's rudimentary debugging as well. So you can click this debugging here like this, and then you can go line by line by clicking this, or you can go step forward in a match pattern by doing this. So if I go line by line, what happens is it's going to return the actual sort of like raw node values here. And then next it's going to return, in this case, you see it's not ordered 6111122. And then if I do the final one, it's going to order it properly. So this is something you can do that sometimes is helpful. The other way too is you can step out, like in a match statement, for instance, just pull the person back, then pull produced. There's no variable yet, so then we step out to movies like that. And yeah, it doesn't understand all variants of Cypher. This is based on an older version of the Cypher Antler grammar. So it may not be up to speed on some of the new 5 syntax. It's probably not actually. But use it if it's useful. If not, then just copy and paste stuff in the browser. And that is the end for this video. And then next video, we'll go into tying things back into the scenarios. Thanks.